Welcome back to the Ridley Scott Review-a-thon, where you guessed it, I'm reviewing all of Ridley Scott's movies. He's one of my favorites. I mean, he's just made some of my favorite movies, and I love him as a director. I love seeing what he does behind the camera, what he does to prepare for shooting, what he does in post-production. I love to see everything that this guy does. So yeah, there's quite a few that I'd missed. Quite a few I didn't even realize that he directed. And yeah, this is one of the ones that I'd missed. Let's watch 1492, Conquest of Paradise. Scott's 8th movie and released in conjunction with the 500th anniversary of the discovery of America. 1492, Conquest of Paradise portrays a version of the travels to the New World by the explorer Christopher Columbus and the effect this had on indigenous peoples. The movie stars Gerard Depardieu, Armand Assante, Sigourney Weaver, and Michael Wincott. So I didn't really realize that we're kind of at the 30-year anniversary of the release of this movie. And it was released in October of 1992. And the production, everything, the reception of this movie, it was hampered by another production of a Columbus movie done by the Salkinds, who did the original Superman movie. And this was released in August to, let's say, not so stellar reviews. It was called Christopher Columbus: The Discovery, and it starred Marlon Brando and Tom Selleck. And yeah, it's rated a 7 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's out of 100, not out of 10. So a 7 out of 100. So when 1492 was actually released 2 months later, it appeared that America was already kind of done with the stories of Columbus. So 1492, Conquest of Paradise, only made $7 million. And it went on to make $52 million overseas, but still, it was one of Ridley Scott's biggest flops. Now, some of the casting is strange. Gerard Depardieu as Columbus, he's French. That's not who Columbus was. So it's already starting off a little strange. And apparently, a lot of the people in the United States found him hard to understand. I mean, of course, English was not his first language. English was actually something that he had to learn as he was filming this. So it was obvious that it was an awkward choice. Even though he had the look of what Christopher Columbus, was reported to look like, it was awkward. Then we had Sigourney Weaver as Queen Isabella, which is also strange. No accent to be found here. Sigourney Weaver plays it like straight American accent, which was, I don't know. It just kind of takes you right out of the movie. It's a little strange. I mean, you got a French guy talking to an American in Spain. And apparently Angelica Houston was actually up for the role, and for whatever reason she did not take the role. I don't know if she quit. I'm not sure what happened, but Sigourney Weaver came to take over, and it was. But this is a Ridley Scott movie, so there's going to be beautiful, absolutely gorgeous set design, costume design. The cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I don't think there's any question. There's going to be people who will say all kinds of things about this movie, about how bad it is and how, oh, this was terrible and this is bad and whatever. You can't deny that this movie is beautifully shot. And the way that Scott frames the camera is just, it's great. It's great to watch. And the score by Vangelis. Look, there's probably a lot of people that would listen to Vangelis and say, yeah, that's not for me. Fortunately for me, I love Vangelis. I mean, I really, really enjoy him. And of course, he did the score for Blade Runner. He won the Academy Award for Chariots of Fire. The guy's got some talent, right? So the score is really gorgeous. And it's strange how I like his quieter moments, some of the quieter scenes with still some score underneath it. Some gorgeous, gorgeous stuff being done there. I really, really enjoyed the score. And yeah, I'm probably going to keep listening to it. It's even strange. It's got some Enya vibes every now and then, which is interesting. But look, the score is top notch. But then here is where we get into some of the really, like, the bad stuff. Like what the number one, that's like one of the things that I noticed right off the bat, the Foley, meaning the sound effects. It seems off. Like it was hurried. And apparently that's part of the deal, is that they filmed this in December of 91. It was an 82-day shoot, so almost 3 months, and then rushed it into post-production, and it was out by Columbus Day, so in October of 1992. So they only had a 10-month period for a $45 million budget. I mean, it's just one of those things where, I mean, the sound effects are like bad. Like there's some really there's some really bad ones in there. And the editing for a Ridley Scott movie, for the editing to be this awkward, I mean, that's really the only way I can put it. It's really kind of, it's jarring, you know? There's like, for example, there are scenes where, or even shots where you can tell there was, you know, before Ridley yelled cut, there was kind of like this lingering just sitting on somebody's face. And then there's somewhere it seems like the next shot was really, really short. So it's sometimes it's like very, very awkwardly put together. And then there's just between scenes, there's a disjointed feeling, you know, like almost like they were sort of re-editing the story and kind of trying to craft a new version of the story throughout the post-production process. It's awkward and frankly kind of boring. I felt myself dozing off a couple of times, and I had to be like, hey, you know, wake up, let's stay in this. But Ridley even said that there's, you know, this movie is 2.5 hours, and it already feels like very long. It feels long. And Ridley said that there was a 3-hour cut of the movie, and that there was even an even longer version that they keep saying that they want to release on streaming services, like a couple of episodes. And I'm like, I mean, look, I'll watch it. It's Ridley Scott, but I don't see how it being longer can help. But then again, Kingdom of Heaven is one of those movies where the director's cut was infinitely better than the shortened theatrical cut. So I don't know. One of the other things that you really point out, especially if you've been watching a lot of Ridley Scott movies, like this guy, you notice that some of the battle scenes, they have that weird kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Look, I love movies. I've watched a lot of movies, but I don't know all the terminology. But it's almost like a stutter frame, kind of like, it's almost like it's jerky. And then there's this, I don't know, it's slow motion, but then it's awkwardly like seen, like almost like frames are cut out. I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't work here. It doesn't look good. It looks bad, really. But it seems like I said, if you've watched a lot of Ridley Scott movies, it's almost a precursor to the kind of techniques that he seems to have perfected once he gets to Gladiator. Those scenes really work, but here it just seems, it's weird. And let's talk about this disc by Kino Lorber. I've heard a lot of good things about Kino Lorber in the past, and this disc is disappointing. I'm just going to say it. It is disappointing. There's an audio commentary by film historians, so if you want to know how close the movie is to what really happened, I mean, maybe, but to me, that it just didn't interest me. The story itself, the movie itself, didn't grab me, so I didn't want to sit and listen to a commentary about what was, you know, what was real and what wasn't. I'm not sure. There's about 9 minutes of deleted scenes, and then a trailer gallery with no trailers for this movie, which, like, what? So there's no making of, there's no commentary, there's none of the normal stuff that you get on a Ridley Scott production, which is kind of, that's disappointing to me. I will say there's a Making of 1492 documentary that is on YouTube, and I did watch that, and I did enjoy it, of course. I mean, it's a documentary about the making of a movie. Yeah, I'm in. So I'm going to link that down in the description if you're interested in seeing that. I saw someone online call it one of the best, worst movies he's ever seen. And I kind of have to agree. It just feels hurried. It doesn't feel like normal Ridley. It feels like Ridley at like 60 or 70%. It just doesn't, the story just doesn't grab you. And I don't know. I'm curious if others are fans of this movie. For me, it was just not good. Like, and the number one thing is, if I'm bored, you haven't done your job. So I'm gonna give this a 2.5 out of 4. It's not anywhere close to my favorite Ridley Scott movie. In fact, it may be toward like the bottom of the pile there. I just didn't like this movie. Even though the technical side is pretty much there, the editing is not great. The sound effects are poor. Even some of the special effects and visual effects are not great. Like awkward. Like, this is 1992. This looks older, and I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. For those of you who have seen 1492, what do you think of it? Are you with me on this one? We're going to continue this Ridley Scott Review-a-thon because it's fun. It's fun to do. Let me know what you think down below, and we'll keep talking about it. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.